All right, welcome to the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show. Larry Krueger with you with a 49er video, of course, brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. Check them out in Corte Madera and Emeryville. Open 7 days a week in Marin County. Well, Pro Football Focus did their own mock draft, and I'm going to go through it, and we're going to talk about their picks, and I'm going to tell you who I would pick instead everywhere along the route, and maybe I'll agree with them on one or two picks, and maybe I won't. But let's jump right into it. Pro Football Focus lists at the 49ers picking their first pick, number 99 overall in the third round, that the Niners will take Jalen Jones, a cornerback from Texas A&M. And I'm a Texas A&M fan, so I've watched a lot of Jalen Jones. He only allowed 10 receptions all year for 94 yards on 19 targets. He's a 6'2 corner, 200 pounds, runs 4.57, 38-inch vertical. Solid player. I'm not going to say he's not. He's definitely a solid player, but he lacks long speed. He doesn't have great speed to make plays down the field, and I can't go with a cornerback in the third round that lacks deep speed. You want me to go for a cornerback as an undrafted player that lacks speed? Okay, I'm there. But as far as the third round, no. There's too many guys on the board that do have speed, and so I'm not going for a corner that really doesn't have the ability to make plays down the field. The guy that I'm going with instead at 99, if I'm the Niners, is the Penn State safety, Jair Brown. 5'11", 205 pounds, just a really, really damn good football player. 10 picks over the past 2 seasons. He's got excellent ball skills, an elite athlete. He was on the Bruce Feldman Freaks list at the beginning of the year. They call him Tig because he supposedly was, as a little kid, was a fan of Tigger from Winnie the Pooh, who always was bouncing around. And Jair Brown is a tremendous player. He's a force against the run. The last 2 seasons, he's had 122 tackles. This guy's a big-time hitter. He's a violent hitter. He's a kid from New Jersey. He was the MVP of the Rose Bowl against Utah. He had 8 tackles and 1.5 sacks and a pick. Now, his 40 time, if this guy ran a better 40 time, you're talking about a player that would have been probably a first-round pick because he's that kind of an athlete and he's that kind of a player. But he ran 4.65. I'm not as concerned because when you watch him on the field, he plays fast. He's very strong, 18 reps at 225. This guy's a passionate leader. This guy is a versatile player who can play the slot. He can play either safety spot. I like him as a cover 3 deep safety at free safety. He can play in the box. And this kid loves football. This guy is the one thing about about the secondary this year, if I'm a 49er, executive, if I'm John Lynch and I'm looking at my secondary, I lost Emmanuel Mosley and I lost Jimmy Ward, and I lost some culture there and I lost some tone setters there. I need some new tone setters. I need some guys on the back end, that are not just good football players, but also the kinds of guys that love to play and play to win and truly love the process of football, and they're passionate, and they're all in. Because that's what you lost with Mosley, and that's what you lost with Jimmy Ward. And if you're going to replace them, it's not just about replacing them athletically. It's about replacing them emotionally, spiritually, leadership-wise. This is a guy, Jair Brown, will get your guys ready to play. Love that player. If he's on the board at 99, I'm picking him. All right, let's jump to pick number 101. Pro Football Focus says the Niners are going to go with Kayshon Boutte, I should say, the wide receiver from LSU. 5'11", 195 pounds, ran 4.5, 40. Really had a bad year this last year for LSU. Really a down year. He was a very high recruit coming out of high school. But his ball skills are questionable. He drops a lot of passes. His route running is raw. He's had 2 significant surgeries on his right ankle. I like Kayshon Boutte as much as anybody else coming into college, but there's no chance in hell I'm taking him here at pick 101 with this guy on the board. The guy that I am taking is another wide receiver. I'm going with Jonathan Mingo, the wide receiver from Ole Miss. I love Jonathan Mingo. 6'2", 220 pounds. They compare him to Anquan Bolden. He's got huge hands, 10 and an eighth inch hands, 4.46 speed. He gets deep, 39 and a half inch vertical. Crazy athlete, 22 reps on the bench. This guy had 247 yards receiving against Vanderbilt earlier this year. I love Jonathan Mingo. Then you mix in the fact that he's physically dominant, has great hands, great ball skills, and he's an academic All-American. Yeah, I'm taking Jonathan Mingo. You can have Kayshon Boutte. I'll take Jonathan Mingo there at pick 101. All right, let's get to pick 102. Pro Football Focus says they're going with Kobe Turner, a defensive tackle, 6-year player out of Wake Forest. 6'2", 288 pounds, strong run defender. This guy was a walk-on, at Richmond in the FCS. He's a kid from Virginia who walked on at Richmond, but he's undersized. He's older. He's got short arms, no pass rush moves, very inconsistent. I like Kobe Turner as a prospect, but I like him as an undrafted free agent. This would be one of the worst picks in the draft if they took Kobe Turner third overall at 102. He's a seventh-round pick, maybe undrafted. And to me, he's you can play him in a rotation. He's not bad if you get him in the seventh round. If you take him in the third round, you're nuts. So I'm going instead with another defensive tackle, and that's Byron Young out of Alabama, who's 6'3", 295, excellent against the run. Pro Football Focus gave him incredible grades this year against the run. 34-inch arms. This guy's got vines for arms. He's got 11-inch hands, huge, powerful, violent hands. Explosive athlete with pass rush potential. Truly a great athlete. Really like this player. I think this is one of the better players, one of the more sleeper players you're going to find. Byron Young, the defensive tackle, defensive end from Alabama. You can see the explosiveness on film. He's just kind of gotten caught up with so many five-star guys sitting around that people don't realize how good he is. He's been a consistent player on their line for his entire career there. He's really good against the run, but he gives you some pass rush. And he's 295, and the movement ability at 295 is tremendous. What I really love about Byron Young is if you play games up front and you want to stunt him, he's incredible. He's an incredible player. So, to me, you can have Kobe Turner. I'm taking Byron Young. All right, the Niners don't have a fourth-round pick. Let's get to the fifth round. Pro Football Focus says they're going at pick number 155 with the UAB corner, Starling Thomas, the fifth. I actually think Pro Football Focus nailed this. I agree. I'm going with Starling Thomas, the fifth as well. 5'10", 195-pound corner, average size. Really phenomenal player, though. Allowed only 23 receptions this year on 50 targets. Outside cornerback, but he could project inside. Very fast. 3-year starter. Long arms. Can play the press corner position. He was the Alabama State high school sprint champ when he was in high school. He ran 10.4 on the 100 meters. He's a high character kid. He's a leader. He needs to be better against the run, but he's got natural ball skills and huge speed, and this is a high character player. So I'll actually agree with them. I'm going Starling Thomas the fifth as well, the corner out of UAB, with pick number 155. All right, let's jump to pick number 164. Pro Football Focus says the Niners are going with Jackson Kirkland, the offensive guard from Washington. 6'7", 321 pounds. 5-year starter. He played guard and tackle. He's got experience at both. I just don't think he's very strong, and he's been injured quite a bit. And to me, strength is key and health is key. He's been injured in 3 of his 5 seasons in college, so I'm passing on him. I'm going with Ktrail Clark. Ktrail Clark is the slot corner from Louisville, slot corner is a valuable position, and the Niners really need to improve their secondary. And to me, this is the third player in that secondary to be added. You added Starling Thomas, and you've added Jair Brown, and now you're adding Ktrail Clark. Ktrail Clark's a terrific slot corner. Plays the run, plays the pass, not the biggest, but man, he's incredible. Great player from Louisville. I would pay money to watch that kid play. So I'm taking him at pick 164. Now we're at pick 155, which is our pick number fifth round, I should say, pick 173. Pro Football Focus says the Niners are going with the big defensive tackle Broderick Martin for the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. And the guy's huge, 6'5", 340, 23 pressures this last year. Long arm guy, plays the nose, kind of plays tall though, loses leverage, lacks quickness, kind of an older player as well. Who does that sound like to you? Sounds like Javon Kinlaw. I don't think this guy's a pass rusher. He's slow to get off the ball. I don't see quickness there. I see a guy who loses leverage, is not overly quick. I don't think he gets a lot done in the NFL. I think he's a developmental nose guard, and to take him in round 5, no, I'm not doing it. Who am I going with in round 5? I'm going with Nick Hampton, the defensive end out of Appalachian State. To me, when you have Bosa on one side, what do you really need on the other side? You need that electric speed rusher, and that's what Nick Hampton is. Incredibly productive, great speed, only about 235, 240, but he comes flying off the edge. And you're going to have to account for this guy. You're going to have to account for this guy because he's so fast off the edge and he's got such pass rush instincts. Natural pass rusher. Great functional strength, even though he weighs 235. This guy will beat you to the edge, and he's got counter moves back inside. So I'm taking Nick Hampton at 173. All right, now we're in pick 216. Pro Football Focus, we're in round 6. They say Brenton Cox, the junior defensive end, is going to be the pick here from the University of Florida. And there's no way. There's no way I'm going with Brenton Cox here. First of all, he's got 4.82 speed. He's pretty strong, 24 reps, but the technique is not great. If you watch him, he's very undisciplined. He was a 5-star high school recruit back in 2018. He's 6'4", 250 pounds. He started at Georgia and then transferred to Florida, but he got busted for a marijuana possession at Georgia and had to leave the program, and then he got dismissed by Florida's program. So this guy's been kicked out of 2 programs. To me, that's a red flag. If a guy's been kicked out of 2 programs, now I'm not, smoking a little grass at Georgia. It's hardly the biggest misstep of all time. But to be kicked out of Georgia's program and then kicked out of Florida's program, no, I'm not going with him. I'm going with Charlie Thomas, the linebacker from Georgia Tech. Thomas is a phenomenal athlete. 215 pounds, undersized linebacker, academic All-American, great athlete, a 3rd in the nation in total tackles. He's productive, he's fast, he's smart. Charlie Thomas is one of the most underrated players in this entire draft. If he's on the board at 216 in the 6th round, just call yourself lucky, turn in the card, and consider it a lucky break from above. He's that good. All right, round 7, Pro Football Focus with pick number 220 or 232 says Cameron Latu, a tight end from Alabama. I looked at Latu. The Niners brought him in for a workout. I don't see it. I mean, he's a bigger-bodied guy, but I don't see any power in the run game. I don't see a special receiver. I just see an ordinary tight end who's going to fit in a room with other ordinary tight ends other than George Kittle. So not a fan of Latu. The guy that I would go with is also a tight end. My pick would be Elijah Higgins from Stanford. Now, either Elijah Higgins is a gigantic jumbo wide receiver, and I think he could make the NFL that way, or I think you could put 10 pounds of muscle on him, get him up to 240, 245, and make him an awesome receiving tight end. That would be my plan. He's at 230 right now. Get him to 240, and I think you have a difference maker. I think you've got a mismatch. I think you got a guy who can be a far, far better pro than he ever was at Stanford. So I'm going Elijah Higgins in round 7 with that pick. All right, pick number 247. We're getting to the back of the 7th round. Pro Football Focus is Chris Rodriguez, the junior running back out of Kentucky. That would not be a bad pick. Rodriguez is a really solid back. He's 225 pounds. He can catch the ball to the backfield. There's a lot to like. But since I've waited on the O-line, I'm going O-line here. I'm going Joey Fisher, the offensive tackle from Shepherd. This guy's a brawler. He can play right guard. He can play right tackle. He's a pancake machine. He did it at his level, but I think he's got the ability to transition to the NFL and be really solid. I love Joey Fisher. I love tough, nasty, brawling offensive linemen who look to bury you, and that's what Joey Fisher is. So I'm taking Joey Fisher out of Shepherd at 247, not Chris Rodriguez, though I do like Rodriguez. All right, round 7, pick 252. Pro Football Focus says they're going Isaiah Land, who is really a defensive end from Florida A&M. He played stack backer in the All-Star game, and he looked pretty good, to be honest. But he's not built to play a stack backer. He's 6'4", he's about 225. To me, he's not really what you're looking for at either spot. He's too light to play defensive end, but he's a pass rusher. That's what he is. He's an edge rusher, and he looks like a fish out of water playing as a stack backer. So I do like an undersized edge rusher here, but I'm not going Isaiah Land. I'm going Tyrus Wheat from Mississippi State. Mississippi State has produced some phenomenal athletes on their front line. Wheat goes about 260. He comes flying off the edge. He's a natural pass rusher with natural bend. I really like Tyrus Wheat. I think he's one of the steals of the draft. And to get him at pick number 253 would be an absolute steal. And then the last pick, Pro Football Focus at 255 says DeMarco Hellams, a safety from Alabama, 6'1", 203 pounds, ran 4.57, led Alabama this year in tackles with 108 tackles. But he lacks the burst to cover deep. To me, he's a box safety only. He lacks man-to-man cover skills, so I'm not going with DeMarco Hellams. I'm going to go with Alex Palceski, the offensive tackle from Illinois, another offensive lineman who can compete with Colton McKivitz for that right tackle spot. Really good pass protector, played at Illinois, blocking for DeVito and the running back Brown. I like Palceski. I think he's passionate, long arms, wrestling background, smart kid, really into football. I think he's a 7th-round steal. And just to mix in one undrafted free agent, even though Pro Football Focus did not, I'll give you one undrafted free agent. Joe Ngata, the wide receiver for Clemson, has been working out with Brandon Ayuk. He's a Sacramento kid from Elk Grove. I think Joe Ngata would be a great undrafted free agent for the 49ers. So what does that mean for the Niners as far as in this mock? In this mock, I love the way it shakes out. I've got Jair Brown, Jonathan Mingo, so you got safety, then wide receiver, then Byron Young, the defensive tackle from Bama, love him. Then Starling Thomas, the corner from UAB, too talented to pass up. Then Ktrail Clark, the slot corner from Louisville. Then Nick Hampton, the edge rusher from Appalachian State in round 5. Charlie Thomas, the linebacker from Georgia Tech in round 6. And then round 7, where the Niners have 4 picks, I'm going Elijah Higgins, the tight end out of Stanford. I'm making him a tight end. Joey Fisher, the offensive tackle out of Shepherd. Tyrus Wheat, the defensive end out of Mississippi State. And Alex Palceski, the offensive tackle out of Illinois. And Joe Ngata is the guy that I'm calling first as an undrafted free agent. Say, Joe, what do you think about coming to the Niners? You can play with your cousin, Brandon Ayuk, and a guy that you trained all offseason with. I think that would be a hell of a draft for the 49ers. All right, hope you enjoyed the mock draft. I like Pro Football Focus, but I think they whiffed badly on their mock draft. Several of those picks are highly, highly questionable. We do agree on the one. Check out Pig and a Pickle, 2 locations. They're in Emeryville and Corte Madera. And thanks for supporting The Krueger Show on YouTube.